right, it's almost 20 minutes before 7 o'clock. Whether it is a racism, a sluggish economy, a highly unequal society, or unemployment, or even high levels of corruption or high levels of poverty, what is clear is that South Africa is faced with many challenges that will not disappear on their own. If anything, these challenges keep compounding, and at the center of the solution is the role played by active citizens in a democracy. Yesterday, the National Foundation's Dialogue Initiative hosted the first regional dialogue in Cape Town. But joining us now from our studios in Parliament in Cape Town is Mbulelo Bikwani. He is the CEO of the Desmond and Leah Tutu Legacy Foundation. Baba Mbulelo, good morning to you, and thank you so much for coming through.
Good morning. Good morning.
Thank you so much indeed. Now, remind us as to how these dialogues came about and why does South Africa need a national dialogue?
Well, the dialogues came about as a result of some long discussion before they were launched last year. And really the discussion was about getting citizens to start to, the term I used, in-source their responsibility rather than outsource it. And if I think about it, the more I think about it, I think these sort of dialogues should have started parallel with the coming into of the new democracy in 1994. So last year, or the whole issue of now let's start the dialogues was birthed, and as we have seen in May this year, the inaugural one happened in Johannesburg, and with that inaugural one, there was an agreement to move the dialogues into regions, so that everyone can have a say and have his say heard and acted upon.
Yeah, but what exactly needs to be changed about the way South Africa is now? We've also had the members of the NFDI yesterday actually taking the blame to say that more could have been done post-democracy. What exactly must be changed?
We as foundations are not prescriptive in terms of our own views, but what the country currently is in agreement with is that the country is in crisis, is in autopilot. We have all sorts of challenges. I don't even have to mention them. South Africans know what challenges does the country have. And we believe what needs to be changed is that people who are at the receiving end of these challenges should start to get involved in finding solutions for the challenges. I think that's what we are saying as foundations, is that the issue of, we've seen that allowing government, politicians to really deal with our challenges, and whilst we stand on the side and waiting for them to do something for us, has brought us to where we are in the country. And we need to change gear and get citizens to be directly involved in the sort of solutions that have to be employed to solve their problems.
But are you planning to take the government and perhaps the ruling party and other opposition parties to be part of this initiative? I mean, we had one speaker yesterday saying that the government, the church and business are actually complicit in the crisis that is currently facing South Africa. So are you also willing to bring them on board, the government, the ANC, opposition parties?
Our position as the NFDI is that whoever has a contribution to make, we are going to engage with. At the moment, we were starting to really get our people to talk, and definitely I have no reason to doubt that we will not at some stage engage the government, engage the opposition parties on the work that we are doing, because we all have the same vision of a South Africa of our dreams.
But what are your observations so far, Babu Mbulelo? Is the government really willing to come on board with these discussions? I mean, I would want to imagine that the primary objective of the government is to change the lives of its people. So are they willing to come on board and work together with the foundations?
We have not even started that discussion with the government, so we can't say they are willing or not willing. We haven't started that sort of discussion with them. As a matter of fact, I know at some point we will have to start that discussion with them.
All right. Now, looking at the fact that the first dialogue was held in Cape Town yesterday, as you said yourself, that you're looking into going to other regions, one would actually say that this particular one yesterday was held in a hotel in the city suburb. Do we perhaps see these dialogues in the future going to the local community halls where the ordinary people, the ordinary previously disadvantaged people are found?
The model of the dialogues is meant to really be facilitated by community leaders. And from this regional one, we are now going to go into communities and really find partnerships with community organizations, the churches, and other organizations that could be there in the communities to really take this model of dialoguing into everywhere in the Western Cape. And I think the time for hotels and all that is over by the last, it was the last one yesterday. So we are now moving into community halls and so on, so that everyone can be heard and seen to be heard.
And we know that in May, when the foundation held the first session to introduce this initiative, President Klerk, who's the former president of South Africa, was part of the panel, and there were voices, many voices who were concerned about his participation in this initiative. The EFF was one of those, saying that we cannot have him on board as someone who actually played a role in the previous government. Yesterday, one of the student activists, I think it was Mbulelo, who said that they are unhappy with the Klerk's foundation in this initiative because he's actually someone who was involved with the previous apartheid government. What is your take on that one? Are you, in a way, sort of dealing with this issue because it's not a new one? It's submerged in March already? In May, I beg your pardon?
You are absolutely right. There were those voices in May, and yesterday, Mbulelo did raise the matter, and very strongly so. Now, our attitude as foundations, as I said right from the beginning when you were asking me about government, is that we are looking for anyone who wants to make a contribution to move our country forward. And if President de Klerk is one of those people, definitely we will welcome his foundation as he is a member of the National Foundation's Dialogue Initiative. And I think for me, we are in a, if I may illustrate the point through an accident. When there's an accident, which apartheid I would guess was, some people get help quicker and they leave the scene of the accident. When there are some people who are still at the scene of the accident, and it's not easy to just grab those who are at the scene, who remain at the scene of the accident for longer than others. So this is a process. We need to allow all of those, and that's what dialogue is all about, is to hear about what are people's feelings are about how the dialogues are being conducted and who is participating. So we're not going to run away from that.
All right.
It's part of the process.
Okay.
Yeah.
Babu Bikwani, we'll leave it at that due to time constraints, but thank you so much for talking to us here on Morning Live. Nkosi Baba.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Well, Mbulelo Bikwani is the CEO of the Desmond and Leah Tutu Foundation, talking to us about the National Foundation Dialogue Initiative that are meant to keep the country talking in order to arrive at the solutions that are needed to get out of this crisis that South Africa is currently facing.